Mom took the box off and she fell out. She was blue. These are the words of a terrified child, describing the moment her 6-year-old sister died. September 2024, Rose Hill, Kansas. Police dig through an overgrown backyard. 23 inches below the surface, they find a black trash bag. Inside, the skeletal remains of a little girl. She'd been there for 4 years. Her family buried her, collected checks in her name, and told the other children she was in a mental hospital. But one sister saw everything, and what she witnessed that night in 2020 will haunt you forever. Her name was Natalie Garcia, a little girl with dark eyes and a smile that lit up every room. In 2018, when Natalie was just 4 years old, Crystina and Joseph Schroer adopted her. They renamed her Kennedy Jean Schroer. She was supposed to get a fresh start, a loving home, a chance at happiness. The Schroers lived in a quiet neighborhood in Rose Hill. From the outside, they seemed like devoted parents. They had multiple adopted, biological, and foster children. A big family, busy, normal. But inside those walls, something was very, very wrong. Neighbors never saw the children play outside. Guests were never allowed to speak to them. Cameras monitored their every move. And in November 2020, 6-year-old Natalie vanished. No missing person report. No investigation. No search. For 4 years, no one asked where she went. When officers arrived that September night in 2024, they weren't looking for a missing child. They were responding to a mental health crisis. But Crystina kept mentioning the children, talking in circles, saying strange things. Then she made her claim. One of her kids had killed Kennedy. Days earlier, the Kansas Department for Children and Families had received a disturbing tip. Something about Natalie. Something dark. They called Crystina. She gave them an explanation. They closed the case. But now, police weren't leaving without answers. Officers noticed something odd about the backyard. An overgrown patch of weeds. Untouched. Avoided. On September 11th, they secured a search warrant. Cadaver dogs were brought in. The ground was cleared. Hours passed with no results. Until they started digging. 23 inches below the surface, wrapped in a black trash bag, they found her. The remains of a child. Small. Fragile. Abandoned. DNA testing confirmed what investigators feared. It was Natalie Garcia, the girl who'd been renamed Kennedy, the girl who disappeared 4 years ago. The autopsy revealed her cause of death. Probable suffocation. Manner of death, homicide. But how? And why? The answer came from the most heartbreaking source imaginable. Detectives began interviewing the other children in the home. One by one, they told stories of starvation, isolation, torture. Then, during a break in questioning, one of Natalie's sisters spoke to her father, not knowing she was still being recorded, and she revealed the truth. She said that Crystina used to punish the children by forcing them into a small box if they moved too much at night. One night in November 2020, Natalie was placed inside the box. When she kept moving, Crystina stacked blankets on top of her. Then a baby crib. More weight, more pressure. Natalie grew quiet. The sister started crying. She thought Natalie might be dead. When Crystina finally removed the box, Natalie fell out. She was blue. The sister told her father she missed Natalie. She wished she would come back. But Crystina had told all the children the same lie. Natalie was in a mental hospital. For 4 years. They believed it. Crystina Schroer was charged with first-degree murder, aggravated kidnapping, child abuse, and desecration of a corpse. Joseph Schroer was also arrested. Though murder charges were later dropped, he pleaded no contest to child endangerment for allowing the abuse to happen. In court, prosecutors revealed the unthinkable. Crystina had continued to collect government benefits and Medicaid payments for Natalie. For 4 years after her death, she viewed the children as nothing more than paychecks. In August 2025, Crystina pleaded no contest. Her attorneys begged for leniency. The judge gave her the maximum sentence on every count, 215 months in prison. Nearly 18 years. During sentencing, the judge had to pause. She wiped tears from her eyes as she described the suffering Natalie and the other children endured. Natalie was 6 years old. She was suffocated inside a box, buried in a backyard, and forgotten. Rose Hill police worked over 2,000 hours on this case. They built timelines spanning 4 years. They interviewed dozens of witnesses. They never stopped searching for the truth. Detective Missy Tharp said, "Natalie has always been the focus of this investigation. We believe we can now tell her story accurately. The other children in the home are now safe. They're receiving the care and support they should have had all along. But the question haunts everyone who knows this story. How did a little girl disappear? And no one noticed for 4 years. Natalie Garcia deserved better. She deserved to be seen, to be protected, to be loved. Instead, she was buried beneath the weeds in a backyard, while the world moved on without her. And if it weren't for one desperate 911 call in September 2024, she might never have been found at all." Here's what terrifies me most about this case. Natalie had teachers, doctors, neighbors, case workers who called the house. And somehow, for 4 years, no one noticed she was gone. So I need to ask you something. How many more children are invisible right now, hidden behind closed doors, suffering in silence, waiting for someone to notice? Drop a comment below if you think the system failed Natalie. And tell me, should Joseph Schroer have gotten more time for letting this happen? If this story made you feel something, hit that like button. Not for me, for Natalie, so her story reaches more people. So no child becomes invisible ever again. Subscribe if you want me to keep telling the stories that others ignore, because these victims deserve to be remembered. And if you suspect a child is being abused, don't wait. Don't assume someone else will call. One phone call can save a life, maybe even a life like Natalie's. Rest in peace, Natalie Garcia. You deserved so much better.